going to happen. But it's just going to be a nice, cozy, informal chat for the end of the year. This will be the last one of this year. That's scary, isn't it? Because a week today is Christmas Eve. Oh my goodness, how did that happen? Anyway, welcome everybody joining. Tonight's topic is whatever you like about spiritualism. So if you've got any questions, got anything, you just think, I don't know if that feels right, or I'm quite interested in this, but I don't know what it is, or whatever. Please bring them to the table. We have lots of very wonderful, knowledgeable people join us on these evenings. So I'm sure that whatever question or anything you want to pose to anybody, please just bring them to. Little, housekeeping rule though, we do not engage about individuals or about organisations. The only time we do that is when those people are all individuals or organisations are here to give their side of it. So generalise, please. So got people in. Hello, welcome. You're all sat there scratching your head going, oh God, what's he doing now? I'm just having a cosy little chat. You've got a Christmas tree, you've got a Christmas star. It's all getting ready for Christmas. What are we all doing for Christmas? What are we doing about our spiritualism at Christmas time? I'm noticing the general trend out there is, as of tomorrow, everybody is doing their last service of the year, and that's fine, absolutely fine. We run solely on volunteers, and they are more than entitled. They've really earned their time off over Christmas, so that's fine, absolutely. But this year, now we've got this electronic spiritualism in. It's quite interesting that although the physical centres and churches are closing down, the electronic side of it is actually keeping a pace all through the week. Even on Christmas Day, there's a couple of people doing charity things and everything. Thank you, Risha. So yeah, it's quite interesting that the electronic side is sort of like filling in a bit of a void here. So what's your thoughts on that? I'm finding it fascinating, the electronic side of spiritualism. There's some really interesting things out there, and there are some things that I think maybe you should have thought about that before you did that. So yeah, just bring in any of your questions. So as I say, you see we've got a few people online. Just say a quick hello. Let us know where you're from. It's always nice to know. But yeah, the electronic side of things. Something that I'm not complaining, because I know firsthand that when you do these online services, online dems or whatever, number one, you do not receive an income from it. Number two, it's handy because you can get people from here, there and everywhere. Hi Michelle, to come on and work for you. But then, I see some of the presentations and I just think, oh dear, oh dear. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think, or do you may even think that the range of different styles and presentations of services is quite interesting, because it does give us that different view. I'm all for trying stuff, Try it. If it works, happy days. If it doesn't, okay. It didn't work. Simple as that. So what's your thoughts on that? But yeah, scary thought, isn't it? Christmas Eve. I mean, this has been a funny year. I was just going back looking up what was happening in the UK this year, and I've forgotten this. And on the 5th of January in 2021, good old Boris announced that we were going into another lockdown. I'd forgotten all about that. I'd forgotten we had 3. I remember 2, but I've forgotten the 3rd. So, yeah, we had that daunting prospect on our doorsteps. You know, and what a sea change that has been now to the world today. It's almost like COVID was another lifetime ago to a lot of people in a lot of respects. So that's interesting. And oh, you can't hear me either. Hang on a minute. Let me have a little play. Play. Where is my audio? Oh yeah. Now that doesn't seem to be working that well. Why is that? Let's try this. Oh. Is that any better? Seems to have lost the volume there. Something's going on. Laptop is certainly earning some money over the years. Just let us know if that's coming out any clearer on the laptop. If not, try a couple of other things. I don't need that. That might be better. Right. So, yeah, we seem to be having, cannot hear you at all now. Well, that's very annoying, isn't it? How about that? Thank you, Jim. Right, I've switched over. That's okay. Right, you should be hearing me now, loud and clear, although a bit thinner. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. That's a shame. I've got a really good microphone there, but it's no good if it doesn't bloody well work. I'll have to find out what's going wrong with that. So, yeah, we were going into, well, we were in by now another lockdown in January this year. It's not that long ago, is it? It's frightening. Thank you, Marion. Thank you. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on this year? You know, this is the end of this year for us on this forum. So, yeah, any highs, any lows you want to share? Any major, leaps forward? We can see we've got the lovely Serena there, who's doing some amazing work in the physical field. Lovely Eva. Eva, you were over in the UK, weren't you? Just a few months ago as well. Lovely Jan is in. I hope you're all better now, Jan, and out of your cast and everything. So, yeah, apologies for that and the sound. I don't know what's going wrong there with that microphone. I'll have a play with that later anyway. So, yeah, just talk about this year. If you've got any questions, anything you want to bring up about spiritualism, anything in your development, any things you've struggled with, any things you may have gone, you know what, this is brilliant. Why didn't I do this sooner? Because this is absolutely awesome. We've had some amazing people here at Paul Church. I've been so fortunate to host just some absolutely awesome demonstrators. You're crutchless, are you, Jan? That's nice. And driving again. Well, that's good. I didn't know you could drive before your accident. So, yeah, that's good to hear. You're in October for 3 weeks, Eva. Brilliant. What do you think about British spiritualism? I don't know if you got a chance to attend any
churches, centres or dems while you're over here, because it's quite interesting to hear the different opinions from our European cousins and further afield. So, excuse me. Yeah, we are on the end of the year. So exciting. If you're not going to ask me questions, I'm going to find something to talk about. And you know, it'll be very long, involved and boring. So, what else? Yeah, we've had some amazing people here this year. But do you know what? It's very interesting. I wouldn't have swapped this year for anything. In fact, I wouldn't have swapped the last 3 years for anything, even considering everything that was going on, personally, on a personal level. But it really did bring home something to me. I don't know, a lot of you may or may not be aware, next year, as in a couple of weeks' time, we're having quite a big change on our services here at Paul Church. And that is not the Sundays. The Sundays are working brilliantly. We have such a good attendance, really do. Even Sunday just gone with the snow and everything, and I'm thinking, oh, blimey, this is going to be a disaster. We had 16 people coming through the snow, which for the UK is really good. All those people out in the Nordic countries are thinking, well, you should have had more. Listen, we're English, we don't do snow. One drop of the white stuff and we run away in panic after panic buying all the milk. But, but yeah, the Sunday's very good attendance, but the midweek services, they've sort of like gone, as they have. I'm going out as a working medium, serving other churches. Attendance is there and no better. Whether that's only because I'm there or not, I don't know, and I prefer to think it isn't. If anybody knows differently, please let me know. So yeah, and also this tallied in with, I was looking at the development. You know, I'm very, very passionate about education, teaching. Thank you, Eva. Yes, I look forward to that. Yeah, very passionate about education within our movement because as I'm on this big learning curve of things, it's just exciting and I want to share that, and this is what I'm doing in the church and online, is sharing this journey that I'm on as well. And I was looking at the educational side and I thought, yeah, we've had an amazing year. We have had awesome people here. We had a lovely Jack and Lola over from Denmark. Frederick, what a gent. Ewan, Tim Abbott, Stevie Trolland, localer, wonderful people like Kim Mulcullen, Arisha, who's in the room tonight. All sorts of people bringing really, really good sound spiritualism to the church, and that was shared either in workshops or as the address in the DEM or whatever, but that information was shared and put out there. But I was looking at the workshops and I thought, yeah, I can see room for improvement here. We're appealing to people who are already on that mediumistic path. They've already, done their basic training in circles and groups. They've developed some sort of a link with the spirit world, whether that be evidential trance or healing. So, everything we've done this year has been aimed at that category of people. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it did leave me, I was sat there pondering and I thought, do you know what, this is a bit like the housing market. There was an interesting article on the other day and they were saying about, not giving people starter home options because they are the foundation for the rest of the housing chain. And I thought, do you know what, I can apply that to spiritualism. It's all right going out and supporting people already on their pathway to develop, but what am I doing to support people who have never set foot inside a spiritualist church, have no idea what we're about, what our philosophy is, what our history is, What is the actual meaning of talking to the dead? Why do we do it? What is the difference between spiritualism and spirituality? And also, so yeah, that was the foundation for the Wednesdays. So the Wednesdays are shifting from the afternoon at 3 o'clock to the evening at 7:30 when more people are available, because, you know, people who work, they can't do a daytime session midweek. And tailoring those nights to talking about spiritualism. And this is going to be my hobby horse for the next few months, everybody. So I apologise now if I bore you on that subject. But yeah, one of the nights will all be about spiritualism and understanding that further and discussing topics, questions and answers. One night will be a dem of mediumship and getting in different mediums again to demonstrate that evidential quality side of our religion. One night will be an open circle where you can just learn to sit and to blend. It is not a development circle. It is not for people to give off, oh, I had this with you, or I had that with you. I'm not interested. This is purely an exercise to start learning the basics of sitting in a circle, going along with the meditation, and just blending that energy. It's not about reaching out to communicate. And then one night is going to be spiritual cafe night, and that is where we can look at the broader subject of spirituality, because I'm just seeing in our movement, just seem to, the edges are just getting a little bit blurred, in my opinion. And tell me if you think I'm wrong, that's absolutely fine. I can block you just like that. I don't mean that. But yeah, it's just getting a little bit blurred, and I just want to sort of like pull the two apart, give them their own energy, nights to talk about, and discuss the similarity, because there are similarities in there, but just get that better understanding of spiritualism and then spirituality. So yeah, who knows? So you're talking now, well done. Probably because you can hear me now, so that's handy. Arisha, I want to return to a home circle. What's your opinion on home circle? Well, I told you, you will be running home circles, and that prophecy will come true, I assure you. There's been a lot of talk about home circles. It's just been in the ether, very prominent over about the last 4 or 5 weeks. Just lots of little things. You know, we talk about evidence within our movement, and it's not all wonderful, great big profound things being said from the platform. It's just like dripping water sometimes. Everywhere you turned, there was a Sunday. Every damn thing I went to came up about home circles. Online, talking to people, in a phone call, in a video call, on YouTube, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm listening. And I can see it. I can see this return to home. Well, we have a great opportunity to revisit home circles. They pretty much faded into the background once churches and centres became more dominant. Circles were then held in the churches and centres because that's where the power is. You know, it's only there. It's not here. It's there. Anyway, I think you got my views on that. But as I say, if you go back to the greats of the movement, the pioneers of the early days, they all learnt in home circle. The thing is, though, with home circles, we've got to get out some sort of educational program about setting it up. Last week we were on about home circles and physical circles with the lovely Carl. And he said something interesting about trumpets used in physical circles, and the sales of them have been really high of late. And I did say, partly as a joke, but partly I meant it after we'd gone off air, about these trumpets. I said, yeah, come February, I bet you loads will get returned because they don't work. Now, if you're in my head, you would really laugh at that because it was quite funny. You it's one thing to say about, have a home circle, but, we've really got to get into that mindset of setting it up, what to expect, what not to expect, discipline, behaviour, because we're going to see the same sort of things as we see manifesting online, because I've turned some things off and just thought, oh God, why are you doing this? And we're going to see that in home circles. But we are also going to see home circles being set up that are going to have fantastic results. So, Arisha, you ask about, goodness me. Hello, lovely Jack. What's your opinion on home circle? Home circles, I think, will be a huge part going forward of spiritualism. They have the opportunity there to become one of our foundation stones again. You can have awesome energy, awesome happenings, awesome results in a home circle, but you have got to run it properly. You don't sit there and have a Big Mac and then go and jump straight in circle. You eat lightly on the day of a circle. You set out the intent of the circle when you're setting it up. Why do you want a circle? What's your goal? What's your aim? What do you want to try? And even if that is, I just want to sit with spirit and see what happens, that's fine. You've set that intent. You really have. You've got to have a good balance in the circle. You don't want it massive. I won't say you can't have it too small, because even two people sitting together actually can achieve some amazing results. You've got to be regular. If you say you're going to have a home circle and invite people in, and it's just got to be emphasised, well, listen, unless you're actually dying, you're at circle. Because that's what we do. And we sit every week at the same time, and we sit in the same places. The circle leader may move people around to see something in the energy where a bit of movement's required. The way it's conducted, you're dealing with intelligence, so behave intelligently. I was called out once because the circle had opened a portal in the next door neighbour's living room, and I'm just like, count to 10, because I don't even know where to start with this one. We're dealing with intelligence, so deal with intelligence. That's going to be my motto. So yes, Arisha, home circles, absolutely awesome, huge amounts of potential. I know it's very interesting, again, because this is very much in the energy. A few things have been said of late about different home circles that I had no knowledge of, and some of the things that are happening in them are like, oh my goodness, how wonderful is that? So yeah, it's there in the background, because I'm always just a wee bit wary when you see these big dems, especially if we go into the physical mediumship side. I call them SOD meetings, and that's spirit on demand. I'm going to get up on the platform tomorrow and do my best for the spirit world. Now, if messages come through, happy days. If they don't come through, do you know what? I'm going to go, I'm sorry, for whatever reason, it's not working today. Unfortunately, when you sell massive tickets, massive prizes to massive amounts of people to come and see a physical dem, I've not seen any of those dems. Anybody stand up at the beginning and just go, do you know what, people? Tonight the energy just isn't there. We're not going to go ahead. So I'm not going to go any deeper on that. But as I say, it was just very interesting. A couple of things just came back to me, that some people, home circles across the country, and oh my goodness, would I love to be invited to one of those one day. So yeah, Arisha, home circles, definitely the way forward. Lola! You're going to be here next week. That's exciting, isn't it? Oh, Keith. Hello, mate. How are you? Does mediumship need to break away from the CERC? Communicator, evidence, reason, tie-up plan. And should the message or messages be all important and not the description of the spirit in contact? Do you know what? Everybody's mediumship is unique. It's unique because we're unique, and it's unique because everybody that works with us in the other side of life is unique. I think CERT was very, very popular, and for those listening and just wondering, CERT was a style of training brought out for evidential mediumships. And it stands for communicator, so you describe your communicator, you give the evidence about them, is what we're all about. So, you know, I've got your grandfather here, he was 6 foot tall, blue eyes, Brylcreemed hair. Then we go on to the evidence side. He had a dog and he used to love to take his dog out on the moors. Oh, and also in his working life, I know there was something attached to collieries going on with this person as well. So there's your evidential side. And then you, as the medium, okay, Grandad, why have you popped in tonight? You know, you've not just stood here and gone, hi, I'm here. You've come here for a reason. So, you know, what is it? You know, and just to say that, oh yeah, I realise at this time tensions between you and your brother are sort of like breaking point, but just step back from the edge, maybe. So there's the reason, and then you tie up. So that's what CERT stands for. Half an hour later. I think CERT, to begin with, helps the novice mediums when they're, you know, because we're going out there working on platform. I'll deal with platform first, and then I'll touch on private sittings. But going out working on platform, you know, standing in front of a lot of people. I know some people have, we've got to have ego to get up on the platform, but we've got to temper that ego with what we're about. If you have no ego, you're not going to go and stand in front of a load of people. Simple as that. And I've seen that with people. They physically cannot get on that platform and stand in front of people. The fear is so great that becomes all consuming. So you've got to have that ego to get up there, but it's got to be tempered. That ego is about the work you're doing for the spirit world, not the look at me ego, and I'm going to say anything, you know, to get reactions and things like that, which we sadly do see. So CERT does help people. That first steps out onto platform. I mean, if we just go through what is possibly the majority of people's experience about becoming a platform medium is, you've gone through the training, whoever is your circle leader or leaders have seen in you that ability. They may be working evidential mediums, and so they may invite you to come and sit up on the platform with them a few times at a dem. Or you may know a church like Paul Church, who will ask visiting mediums. We've got somebody here who we know is got potential. Would they mind them being up there with them? So they're getting that gentle introduction to working on the platform, because I think one of the biggest things we do, and I think it's horribly, horribly wrong, is people go out there and go, right, well, I'm platform medium now, I've sat in circle all these years, I'm platform medium, I'm going to put myself out there. And actually you don't realise a lot of services are like an hour and 20, an hour and a half long. And that is a bloody long time to be up there in the public gaze. And you've got a lot of work to do. The lovely Jack, who's in the room today, he said something to me when he was over here, and I thought, do you know what, that's so true. We really overwork our mediums in the UK. You know, you watch a service, take the energy out of it, take the emotion out of it, and just watch a service. Chair, hello everybody, waffle, waffle, waffle. Now over to Jack, opening prayer. Thank you, Jack, that was lovely. Right, we're now going to sing a song, la 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 la. Right, now Jack for his reading and address. Thank you, Jack. Right, now we're going to do healing, which I'm actually going to do, you know, so I'm actually doing more than 2 minutes talking now. That was lovely. Now I'm going to hand over for 40 minutes to Jack to do the mediumship. You know, we really overwork our mediums over here. We really do. So, where I'm going with this, please don't all drop out and think he's gone mad, he's lost the plot. There is method in my madness. Sir is very good in the beginning. I did it. I was like, go on, yeah, shopping list, which I call it now, shopping list mediumship. Yeah, 6'2", eyes are blue, da da da. And it is very good in the beginning to just give you that structure to work in, because there's a lot of pressure on you up there. There's a lot of pressure being stood in front of people. There's a lot of pressure with the volume of work and the different modalities, because when you do a prayer, you're working in one energy. When you do your reading, you're working in your mental consciousness. When you're doing your philosophy, you're working in a different mental mediumship state. Then you go into your evidential medium. So, your energies there's a lot of shifting around. You don't just get up there as a medium. As a medium, you are working with 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of mediumship. And you probably sat for 8 years only concentrating on getting the message. Well, having that communication with dead relatives is absolutely no use to you whatsoever when you're trying to construct a prayer from the heart. Because you're working then with your inspirational mediumship. CERT is brilliant in the beginning. It does help people. It does give them a structure. But something you should never, ever forget, you never stop your development as a medium. You should never get in that mindset of going, right, well, I'm getting bookings, so therefore I'm a platform medium, happy days. I don't have to sit with spirit anymore. I don't have to sit in circle anymore because I'm getting the bookings. Because you will find that you're delivering messages of a certain evidential quality, and in 3 years' time, you'll be sat there going, do you know what? I keep saying the same things. Why is that? It's because you haven't advanced your mediumship. So, CERT, great to begin with, but again, as a step, a bit like writing your prayers out when you first get up on platform. When you first get up on the platform, if you need to write out your prayer or bullet points, you know what? I haven't got a problem with that. 1 year down the line and you're still doing it, then I think, what's going on here? Why is that? So, and should the message or messages be all important and not the description of the spirit in content? Well, we need that evidence because that is the cornerstone of spiritualism. We not only walk the walk, we talk the talk. We're all about proving, first and foremost, that continuity of life. That evidence, proof, whichever terminology you prefer, comes through in the evidential messages. If you bring through somebody and you give that, I went to see a medium about 2 years before COVID struck, and you know what? I had the best description ever of my mum and my dad's dog. It was perfect. And I listen to what's being said, and if it's not right, I will question. This was word perfect, absolutely. My mum, dad, down to a T. And then it stopped there. And they went on to somebody else, and I was just sat there a little bit perplexed. And afterwards, I said, description, awesome. Best description ever I've ever heard. I said, why was there no communication? And at that time, within that organisation, there was a thing going around about you not to give messages from spirit because it's not the medium's job to decipher if that's right or wrong, and that just left this huge hole. Because my mum and dad had made all that effort to be there, and then it was like they were gagged and they couldn't be able to talk. So we have to have that evidential. side of our mediumship because we are evidential mediums. When we're in a public dem, so if we're doing just a straightforward dem or part of a service or whatever, even more important because somebody's message could be somebody else's evidence. As your mediumship progresses and whatever venue you're in, whether you're going into private sittings, I've done it and afterwards I thought, yeah, I was a bit sloppy there, and I've just said, oh, I've got your mother here, and she's talking about, and went quite into an in-depth thing about this person, their life and everything. And afterwards I thought, I want more evidence. I want more evidence to give to the sitter. So I think we've got to establish the person that we are connecting with through the evidence, and then see where the message goes. And again, don't forget we're dealing with intelligence. So if you're on a public venue, they're not going to be too harsh or demonstrative with you, but in a private sitting, they may, other things come out that are not suitable. But yeah, evidence is paramount. That is what we're about. That seriously is what we're about in a den. So I hope that has interested you there, Keith. Michelle, another crazy year, still COVID about, still having jabs, kind of used to being alone, not complaining, love it. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, darling. And I going live over the next couple of weeks, never boring. We'll see what happens. I am so fortunate. I have got the wonderful Jack and Lola here from Denmark. I'm so excited that they're coming all that way to see me. Maybe I should start questioning this. Maybe I should finding out why they are coming over here. Maybe they're on the lam from something. I don't know. But anyway, so if there is the opportunities to go live, we've got a couple of live streams coming out of the church, don't forget. We will have our Christmas Eve service, 3 o'clock. That'll be streamed out live, and then we're doing carols out in the car park if the weather's good. If not, it will be in the church. So yeah, there'll be a few lives coming out, and no doubt I'll probably just throw a live out there just to frighten you all. But thank you, and happy Christmas to you too, darling. And you're never alone. Just remember that. Leslie, sorry to hear that. Got no reception last few minutes. Happy Christmas to you too, darling. All the best. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing my best, my darling. So yeah, thank you, and all the best for you. 2023. Let's start again. See if we can get it bloody right this time. Hello, lovely Julie. Yeah, Arisha, just tagging on with the open circle thing, home circles, commitment, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I thought I'd touched on that. I did, yeah. If you're going to be there, you're there every week unless you're dead. And if you are dead, you've got no excuse for not being there. Yeah. Oh, look, Arisha, Lee's asking if you're doing your home circle. Oh, how's that? Hello, lovely Marion. Ian, hello, sir. How are you? Yep, and to you and Sam as well. Happy Christmas, mate. Everywhere. Lovely Jack. If mediumship is a part of proving continuous life, we in one form or another need the evidence. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, Jack. That is our... as evidential mediums, that is our primary function, is to provide that evidence. If we're healing mediums, there is evidence in our healing work. In even our philosophical mediumship, sometimes there is the evidential side where we can share something and people say, do you know what? That has just answered a question that's really been bugging me. You've just given a message, So... Peter Martin, just listening on the side. Oh, well that means, but hello, love and light to you too. Risha, so nice to share us. Yeah, picking up there, as I was saying about, we really do work our mediums over here. It is nice to share. You know, it used to be really common in churches and centres that one medium would do the philosophy side, one medium would do the evidential mediumship side. That used to be quite commonplace. That would be either husband and wife, partnerships, or just friends. I probably, in that sort of setup, would go on the philosophy side, because I find a straightforward den of mediumship, I find that really hard to get into nowadays, because our mindsets change, our energies change, and I do find just a straightforward den very hard. It's like trying to start a cold stuck car at times. But when I've got the philosophical side, when I've got that part in as part of a bigger service, I think by the time it then comes to the evidential side, it's like the motor's running and warmed up a bit. So that'd be quite interesting. And also, I've worked recently working with other mediums and giving double links. That's been fascinating. Because we've all got different opinions. You know, Arisha, your opinion of me is going to differ from Peter's opinion of me, but you're both talking about the same person. And when you can do that as evidential mediums and dealing with the same communicator, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So, Marion, yes, Merry Christmas to you. You got a nice white Christmas up there? I had to laugh. There was another scare headline. Blizzard to hit the UK, and when you actually read it, it's sort of like they're talking about snow right up in the north of Scotland, where you just think, well, it's always snowing there. Where's this blizzard in the UK? Lovely Lee, who cooks amazing food. Happy Christmas. Such a pleasure to meet you down at wonderful Newton Abbot. Happy Christmas to you too, my darling. So, yeah, it's very interesting. Do you know what? I think we're, because of this time where we have gone online and we've spoken with people, we've listened to different people, we've had that opportunity to share our opinions, because I love nothing better now in the service than to throw in a quick have you got any questions and answers slot, and very rarely does nobody not ask a question. It might be a bit slow to start, but once it starts, people are really on board with it, because we are having this chance now to talk with each other and share opinions. And yeah, sometimes the answer may appeal to us, it may not appeal to us, but we're all big enough and ugly enough now to go, yeah, okay, you don't think the same as me, do you know what? That's not really a problem. You're not living my life and I'm not living yours, so carry on. I would like to see more in our movement, and this is what I'm doing down here at Poole with the Wednesday nights, of giving more time to people to have their input, for them to be able to ask questions, for them to listen to some, there are amazing people with amazing stories around, and to get involved and debate about stuff, because this leads to your growth. This is one of the kickstarts I've had to my evidential mediumship, has been this time of talking to absolutely wonderful people and actually, taking it on board what they're saying and going, do you know what, that's really interesting. I like that way of working. I'm going to try that way of working, because it does. It re-motivates you. It just gets you going again. You just think, oh, okay, well, yeah, I could do that. But as I say, I'm trying to bring that in now to the actual church itself. If it works, happy days. If it doesn't work, go big sulk. And just hand these, they're going to be 2 evenings a month where actually the the star turn, if you like, is the people in the church, bringing in their questions, bringing in their thoughts, their ideas. You know, my motto about no question is daft if you don't know the answer. And nobody got to where they are today without asking questions, so bring them on. You know, if you don't understand something, ask about it. Yeah, because, you know, you imagine you've just walked in the doors of a church and they start talking about, oh, well, our awareness circle is open tomorrow night. And you're sat there going, and that is what? Another thing that we do, and we do it unconsciously, we've got our divine service next week and people are going, what's that then? What's all that about then? You know, so it's quite nice at this time that you've been able to go back to 1.0 and talk with people and get that understanding again that, you know, yeah, you won't understand what a divine service is. You won't maybe not understand something about our history, our philosophy. Where do we come from? How did we get here? You know, so there's lots there. Lovely Marion. We did have snow, however, today is black ice, so roads and pavements have been treacherous. Thankfully, I haven't been driving. Yeah, we had a little spell of that down here. We had very, very cold. This is how it all kick-started. Very, very cold. And it rained for about a minute and then stopped raining, and that was it. Ice rink. Everywhere you went. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I'm glad to see the snow, because at least you could walk on it then. So, anything else, you know, in our movement, in our philosophy, our understandings that maybe you're struggling with, or, you know, you've heard something and you just think, I don't know if that's right, I don't quite understand that, or it doesn't feel right to me. Do you know what? Intuition is one of the best forms of mediumship. You know, if it doesn't feel right, actually, somebody is saying, whoa, Neddy. Jim, lovely Jim, enjoying your views, always entertaining. Thank you, Jim. So Arthur Bindley College, etc., 1964 onwards, this moulded mediums to teach in a certain way. Yeah, and again, this ties in wonderfully with this energy now about home circles. I get it. Any institution, any college, any teaching modality or whatever, they've got to work to a structure, because that's how businesses operate. And at the end of the day, we're all businesses. Even the little independent church like Paul, we have a business side to us. If we don't have a business side, we don't have income. If we don't have income, we ain't going to be it. Simple as that. So, yeah, I do see that a lot of places that work to rigid structures had to bring in some form of acceptable training. And this is the trouble, isn't it, in our movement? You know, because the one thing spiritualism does is celebrates the individuality of everybody. And then in some instances, that individuality is sort of like quashed out to bring in uniformity. And they don't work, do they? You can't have uniformed individuality which is in uniformity. It's a total I'm going to feed that into Google and see what it makes of it, because you can't get two more opposing words together. Yeah, do you know what? There's a lot of these organisations and accredited centres that are teaching and things, and I admire a lot of their work. I do. You know, we've had accredited teachers from all backgrounds here, Devon and Paul Church, and the accreditation actually shines through in their work, because they actually have really gone into the basics, the bases of spiritualism, the underpinning knowledge, the wherewithal about the movement. And it does, it really shines through. And because, you know, on the other hand, you see some people and their knowledge is extremely limited, and that shines through as well in their work. So, yeah, I do like these schemes and systems where accreditation is obtained, because I don't, the more you learn, the more you need to know. I'm very much like that. It's just sometimes then in the presentation, it seems to get to a point of going, right, I'm now no longer a guiding hand. I'm actually a hand on your shoulder pulling you back. And it's just, when does it stop being that and then become that? That is where we will continually see endless debates. There was a very inflammatory notes from a meeting that were released, which, there were a couple of lines in there, and I thought, oh God, this is going to be interesting. And of course, where you've got the big accredited bodies, there are certain things to remain legally recognised. They've got to insist on things as well. So, it's a real minefield. It really is a minefield. But thanks for putting that in there, Jim. Yeah, fully get that. I don't know if I've answered or given you my thoughts on that. I love it. I love... when I use some words, I'm never ever being demeaning or rude or demonstrative or anything like that. When you see an educated demonstrator work, and when I say educated, I mean that they have an understanding and a firm grip on what they're about, what they're talking about, who they're communicating with, how they're communicating, why are they up there in front of people, it just shines through. I was watching one of our services the other day, because a lady from, where was she? Canada wanted to know what a church service looked like, because they don't have churches out there, and she said we only do billet readings, and I had to look that up to find out what a billet reading was. So I sent her a service, and I sent her one with Ewan Irvine, a chap down from Edinburgh, who is a certificate holder with one of the bigger organisations. And I just thought, I want to give her one that's, got a lot of oomph in there. And that's no disrespect to the others. But I just thought, I'll listen to a little bit. And I just sat there for the whole hour and listened to him. Because it just a triumph. It seriously was. As are a lot of the other demonstrators that come here. But it was just this one in particular. And funnily enough, no such thing as coincidence, the topic of the address was actually about something that I was coming around in my head at the moment. So I'm just like, I was seriously meant to listen to this. But we need to keep on that education. And, there is in the 7 principles, eternal progress open to all. Do you know what? I think sometimes we need to really apply that to our mediumship. And go, do you know what? I want more out of this mediumship, or I'm not quite sure. I want improve. I want this to keep moving. Not, thank God for that. I got through another service. Anyway, Keith. Hello, lovely Keith. A medium once said to me that if you give a home reading and the results has given a certainty to the client that they have never need a reading again, then you've done your job well. A medium's job is to release them and not to trap them in a process of needing relentless confirmation. What do you think? I love that medium. I have a very stringent rule with private sittings. I will not do a private sitting within 6 months of previously doing a private sitting, preferably longer, because I do and have witnessed and have heard of people going literally once a month, and really, if you've got somebody if you've got somebody that needs constant validation from that's a very good thought, Jack. It's an extremely good thought. I like that thought. If you've got constant need for the validation from the spirit world about what you're doing, I'm not a psychologist, I am not a psychiatrist, but that is making alarm bells ring in my head. That is seriously making alarm bells ring in my head, and is in an area that evidential medium shouldn't be dealing with. You know, seriously, because there is something that person needs to deal with. But yeah, this is it to me, and this is the message that sometimes we try to get across to people, is once you've had that message, once you've had that evidence, what more do you want? You know, why do you keep coming back week after week after week after week, wanting to hear from our loved ones? You know, if the medium does their job well and they give you that conclusive proof, and I word it like that because that proof is what's the one, personal to you. You know, there's certain things about my mother or father, if people came back and said them, not that I need it, but if people had come back and said XYZ, I would have gone, yep, spot on, absolutely. Once you've had that evidence, you know, it's Spirit's way of saying it's opening a door for you. And this is what we're lacking, and I think this is partly due to because of the lack of teaching in our churches and centres, is that we've created a dependency. You know, I've been introduced like this in a church, and trust me, it didn't go down at all well. I've done the philosophy, which I absolutely love, and yeah, I was up there, and it was just everything was right in balance and right working. I thought, oh, this is great. And the chair stood up and go, right, now the bit we've all been waiting for, the messages. And you know what? It's like somebody pulled the plug out of me. I didn't want to be there. I looked at this person and I was like, I'm so going to have a word with you afterwards. That's not the bit everybody's been waiting for. It is wonderful to have that communication. But once you've had that cinching proof, what are you going to do with it? It's like a conversation with Spirit. They've given you their message that they are alive and they are living a life that we can't fully grasp. But the most important thing is they are safe, they are well, they are loved, and they are watching over us. Sorry, what more do you want from them? Yeah, I'm totally there with you, Keith. That in the ideal world, when the evidential mediums do their job properly and provide that cinching proof, that is a key to that person to let go of grief, let go of remorse, let go of anger, hurt, upset, on the path to healing, whatever, or a combination of all these things, but to get on with their life. You know, because I always say Spirit isn't about life. It's not about talking to dead people. It's about life. It's about how we can live this life, how we can wake up in the morning and not be such an arsehat, you know? Seriously. It's about that. And, you know, if you approach these things with a modicum of thought and without the emotional body, you know, as a medium, if they give you that cinching proof that that person continues to this day, wow. But sadly, it's become a little bit of a I hate to use the entertainment word because it brings up all these things about, this should be announced as it's for entertainment, and that's nonsense. That was never true in the first place. But yeah, it does bring in this slight entertainment factor to it. I would have said, if I stood on the platform tomorrow and levitated 6 inches, next week the church will be full and standing of people wanting to see me levitate 6 inches. And the week after that, they'll probably be on the TV levitating 6 inches. But then be on the TV again, levitate 6 inches, and I go, yeah, well, I've seen that. How about you spin round? Can you turn 180 degrees? Can you go higher? Can you go, and it's that sort of energy. It's crept into our evidential medium reading. Oh yeah, that's really good. Definitely had me mother there. Right, I'll go back again. Oh, okay, yeah, definitely got me mother there. But wanting more out of it, and it's like you're putting the onus still back on the spirit world. Yeah, well, it's lovely hearing from you, Mum, but tell me about what's going on with Bertha, because that's really doing my nut in. Or, where did you leave the will? For God's sake, we need to know where the will is. And again, and that's not the way it's meant to work. This is a two-way conversation. So Mum's taking all that energy and time to come through and give you that cinching proof. You should take away and work with that. Not want more the next week, just work with that, because you know what, when you start delving into that, you've got a lifetime's work ahead of you, mate. So yeah. Anyway. Ooh. Sorry, I got slightly distracted there. So yeah, I hope I've answered that, Keith. Michelle, so many people want card readings every day. See a medium daily, weekly. It annoys me. Why cannot they understand it? You cannot. Yeah. Card read. Do you know what? I'm beginning. There's a little thing going around in my head, and I'm thinking that maybe, when you've got people coming into a spiritualist church or a centre for the first time, or doing this investigating, I think it's perfectly acceptable to work on the psychic level sometimes with people like this, because this, to me, the vast majority, if I'm doing a card reading or palm reading, I'm working on my psychic energy. I understand that. That's fine. And psychic work has got very valuable. There is some really good things in there that you can work with and help people with. And I think when people are new in, I think it's acceptable work on the psychic side. But to get over this is not an entertainment, because you're going to have that initial enthusiasm. And again, we're going back to what I was just saying about the, levitate 6 inches. Oh, wow, that was amazing. They told me this and they told me that, I'm going back to see him next week. And it's like you're missing the whole point. But the trouble is, a lot of our practitioners are missing the point as well. This is where it becomes really sad that... as I say, I will not do a private sit-in within 6 months of the first one, because I'm just thinking, why? They've said their bit. Seriously. There are very, very, very rare occasions where, the playing field has changed. And I've only had it once in all my time, where I gave a sit-in 4 months after a sit-in because something had massively changed. Apart from that, no, it's not an entertainment. It's not, spirit don't tell us. As human beings, we have one of our failings, and there are many. Well, speaking personally, of course. We're always looking for a saviour figure or someone to blame. And sometimes that becomes manifest in the movement of spiritualism and spirituality. You know, you go to a card reader, so you've got probably a very powerful psychic if they're adept at their craft. So you've got a very strong psychic sat there giving you a reading, and you're just sat there and you are totally, mind is blown away. And immediately you put this person into this saviour figure, because they told me so much about me, you know, they must know better than me. So I will keep going back to them, because so far, in my opinion, my life has been just a total rat's nest. So I'm going to keep going to that person. They're going to keep, you know, and if you've got somebody who's slightly unscrupulous, yeah. I saw something today, an advert, another one of our medium mystic side, which is healing, and the amount being charged an hour was a bit eye-watering, and I just thought, wow. And I've seen that applied as well to tarot readers and card readers. You know, the fee is sort of like, ooh, that's hefty. And if you create a market, if you create a pool of people that will be in touch with you once a month, whatever, you only need 30 people to do that, and you've got your daily income straight away. So yeah, Michelle, yeah, I agree with it. Again, you know, it's once you've got the evidence, it's going with the evidence. You've been given the ball, now bloody well run with it. Right. Oh, goodness. Jim. Bravest souls down here on earth are the veil closed, they just get on with life's journey. The sensitive souls here carrying more light, etc., get confused, helping out in the dense 3D duality, and need messages from home as kind of soul food. Yeah. And do you know what? I've seen. I'm going to put this in this phrasing, and it's wrong, so forgive me. But I have seen better spiritualists outside of spiritualist churches than sometimes I've seen in them. I've seen remarkable healers who have no interest in communing with the spirit world. You know, may even poo-poo it, but they're healers of the first order. So yeah. Lovely Sarina. It was wonderful to follow you and your visitors this year. There's always been something to learn. On top of that, there was wit and charm. Oh, thank you. For me, in general, the biggest lesson is that mediumship is very colourful and diverse. That's what makes it so exciting, and it's even more important to be open to everything. Natural mediumship that suits the medium is simply wonderful. Do we need more? Interesting. And I wish you a wonderful Christmas too, my darling, and exactly the same for next year. Successful, healthy, and wonderful, amazing. Let's have an amazing 2023. So, natural mediumship suits the medium is simply wonderful. Do we need more? I get what you're saying there. I'm going to say yes, we do need more. Because one thing that I've learned, which has impacted on my evidential mediumship, is sometimes you're just so grateful to see something. You know, they'd show you a pineapple and you go, oh my God, show me a pineapple, thank God for that, you know. And the sitter goes, yes! And you go, oh, whew, moment, you know. I saw a pineapple, I said I saw a pineapple, and the sitter said, yes, I understand that, you know, job done. Well, actually, no. I saw a pineapple. Why are you showing me a pineapple? What's all that about then? What's the story of the pineapple? Tell me. Oh, right. So, this gentleman used to be and this actually happened, this is fascinating. This gentleman was a merchant seaman during the war, and he survived the war. And very rare occasions when he managed to get home, he used to always try and bring you home a pineapple because you couldn't get it with the rationing and the state of the economy and the war and everything going on. You never saw a pineapple anywhere. But you had a pineapple and you were the richest people in the street. Do you know what? That's the difference between, I see a pineapple, and telling the story of the pineapple. So yeah, I do approach my evidential media. Give me more. I want to know more. I want to know why you're showing me that. And I also say to Spirit, I don't want to know how you died. I want to know how you lived. Because that's something we do tend to do, isn't it, on our messages? Oh, this, right at the end, at the end they had this, and at the end, oh yeah, it was for. And I still do it. If that needs to come out, that's fine. But it does become a bit of one of these formulas to the way we work. Yeah, okay. If we can find out what their last 6 months were like, why don't we find out what the happiest 6 months were like? Why don't we find out where they really? I had the most awesome thing in a private sitting. I don't big myself up, but it's just something I want to share because I've never had it, and it was so simple but so beautiful. And there was a bit of a strained relationship going on between the sitter and the parent now in spirit. And the parent stepped forward and said things about, the stress and the strains and the in life. But he just came out with this emotive thing, and he just said, you know what? When you were born, and I said, I say to Spirit, talk through me. No, I don't mean direct voice, but just, just take over my mind and let you formulate the words. And I went, when I first held you, I went, oh my God, I don't deserve anything this beautiful in my life. I was just like, oh my God. The sitters bawling their eyes out. I'm sat there trying to man up and failing miserably. But yeah, always ask for more, Serena. If they do one thing, just go, that was great, but how about? And as long as the intent is right. I don't say, show me more so I can look brilliant, and be wow, and people fawn all over my feet. Well, do you know what? It's probably not going to happen. But if I can say, do you know what? I really want to bring you alive tonight. I want to bring your presence so close because that person will benefit from it. They will go, okay, here you go. So yeah, just in your work, I know you're a fantastic healer as well. Why not ask for more in your healing? Not just a relief of symptoms, but a cure for the causality. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know what you do about your absent healing. But just as I'm talking to you there, just my attention is being taken to absent healing. So that's interesting. I wonder why. There you go, there's something. Julie! There's a medium near me who charges around £150 a reading. I would want them to be levitating for that much money. Yeah, seriously. And again, you know what? And this is where we as healers can work. When you've got people, this is what I referred to earlier on, that some people get really hooked on these readings. And we've got this funny thing in our society. If you give something away, it has no value attached, so people therefore do not value it. So we understand that as a premise to be true. So if you take the opposite side of that, if you put a whacking great big price in it, people then append the value of what they're having to the value of what they're paid. Because they're not going to go to their mate, unless you've got somebody who's a bit like us and a bit earthy. I've just spent £150 on reading. It was absolute bullcrap. That's probably not going to happen so much. More is, oh yes, well I always go to so-and-so. They are expensive, but are wonderful what they do. And again, you're like, if you keep going back to a medium, regardless of the financial outlay, if there is any, it really is showing. It's a funny conversation I was having today. When we talk about healers, and to me, one of the biggest warning signs with, we get a lot of new healers coming through the church, which is great. One thing I when I hear it, I go, oh right, I know what we're dealing with here. I only feel good when I'm healing somebody. I love healing because when I'm healing, I feel wonderful. And I'm like, yeah, but do you know what you're saying there? You're saying that when you're not healing, you don't feel wonderful. You should feel wonderful all the time. So why is that? Why is that? Well, have I got onto that subject? I have no idea, but somebody out there will understand. Anyway, yeah, I would certainly want levitation. I'd also want collecting from home, and a glass of pop, and maybe a sandwich. Jim, have to go. Thanks for the weekly Lyceums. Go and send PM to a Facebook. Arrange reading for you. Thank you for straight. Oh, thank you, Jim. That's very kind of you. Yes, we will. We will. Lovely Jack. Sadly, the clearest memory is not always but often the last part of a loved one's life. Yeah, no, I agree, Jack. I'm not demeaning that part, but it's just something that I've brought into my mediumship, and it's because of you. So you shoulder half of this blame. Yeah, it's because as a generality, we were discussing earlier CERT, communicator evidence, and it was sort of like that shopping list approach to mediumship, and I had realised with my mediumship I had got that shopping list mentality. Who are you? How did you die? And what do you want to say? And so that, don't show me how you died, show me how you lived, is probably more for my benefit. So to break my moulding of, I was working to CERT, and in the communicator, part of the communicator and the evidence part, the C and the E part, was how did you die? And it's just like, hang on a minute, why do we keep asking people how they died? To me, I just thought, no, I'm going to start asking people how you lived. So yeah, I'm not demeaning it, and if it does come through, absolutely, there's going to be some tangible, evident side, and also may well be a very good part of the reading. There may be some healing aspect required there. So yes, thank you, Jack. Very kind of you. When you're here next week, you can tell me that from there. No, you can't do that. You got there. No, there. You have to sit there. Peter Martin, spirits are much, much more alive than we are. May I say that you have many followers, I meant spirits behind you. You need very true mediums. There are still people who say that they are mediums, but not. I know what spirit children do sneak and don't on their own. Then one of the elders takes them back home in the spirit world. Yeah, they, sadly, everything. I'm always about the law of balance, because I think it's probably one of the best laws of the universe. If you get that one, you know what, a lot of other things really fall into place. And for all this explosion of online being able to reach people, there's people of all dispositions out there reaching people. And sadly, if somebody's looking to slate or berate anything, any philosophy, religion, movement, way of life, they will find the lowest part of the expression of that philosophy and vaunt that as the standard of what we're all about. And it's not. We know that. But yeah. And spirit children, it's funny, isn't it? Spirit children, especially at this time of year, is that our emotional, compassionate side, because many of the physical seances now, they have the Christmas tree seance where toys are brought in for children. Our thoughts do turn to children at this time of year. I mean, Christmas is about children, obviously, so our physical focus is on there. But on the spirit side of life as well, we know the children are brought forward a lot. That's interesting. I'm going to sit and ponder that one. Thank you, Peter. Oh, bless you. Catches fell off the chair sneezing. Arisha! I would rather do a reading for someone who needs it and has no money than a reading for someone who has the reading just because they can pay for it. Yeah. Very true, darling. Lovely Marianne. A good medium is open to the needs of the spirit, and spirit knows the needs of the recipient, touching the needs of soul to bring healing to both sides. Thank you. Sitting in services, my wish is for those in need to receive the help needed. Yeah, and thank you, Marion, because that both sides, there is this propensity at times between people, and doesn't matter where they are on the development tree, to think about our side of this bargain sort of thing that we enter into with spirit. Well, why don't they do this? Because we're putting our emphasis on why aren't they doing this, and why aren't they do? And you sit there and go, well, why are you asking me? Why aren't you asking spirit? Because they're the ones that will produce the goods. It's as simple as that. And healing is the basis of all our work. I would say any form of mediumship. The element of healing is always there. I had a wonderful. Carl last week gave a little recount of a physical dem where a mother saw her child. How healing is that? Absolutely. On the evidential side, through a platform dem, that we've all. When people say, "Oh, I've got somebody in my family, I haven't spoken to them for years," I just think, "Oh God!" I said, "Well, please don't be one of those messages later on where I have to say, they're saying they're sorry." I said, because it's just like bread and butter to us at times. Oh, we got another one here you haven't spoken to for 10 years before they died, and now you're full of remorse. Why didn't you speak to them when they were alive? Why don't you do the healing this side of life while you're both still alive, instead of having to work on each other from different sides of the veil? Yeah. But yeah, very true, Marion. Healing is tangible in all of our work. And yeah, it's the needs of spirit. It's handing themselves over to spirit and going, what do you want to say? Use me. I'm here. Use me. Anyway, people, I've waffled on for ages. Thank you very much for joining. Next Saturday being Christmas Eve. I really don't know what's going to happen, so I'm not going to make any promises. Those of you in the know, I know that the lovely Jack and Lola are going to be here. However, they are working on... Yes, it is Christmas Eve. They will have worked in the afternoon. We have our Christmas Eve service. So they will have worked in the afternoon. If we get the opportunity to come on, we'll discuss that when they're over here. When I've plied them with various amounts of alcohol. But anyway, have a wonderful night, everybody. Don't let Christmas become this overbearing monster, demanding all your time and your focus. Just let it happen. And do you know what? If you come to Christmas dinner, you haven't got the Yorkshire puddings. It's only a bigger deal as you make of it. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Lovely catching up with you. Well, Merry Christmas. And yes, Jack, we will see you soon. So looking forward to it. I just share something with you, as you've put up with me for the last hour and a half. I'm so sorry. On Tuesday, I am going to London. I'm enrolled in a scientific investigation into mediumship. And on Tuesday, I'm going to London to work with my mediumship in an MRI scanner. How amazing is that? That is going to be brilliant. So once I've done that, next Tuesday, I will see what happens, but I'd just like to update people on it. But as you've all put up with me for the last hour and a half, I thought I'd share that with you. I'm not running around bragging about that, but I just thought I'd share that with you. I know, wow. Anyway, so that's Tuesday. So thoughts out for me Tuesday morning, please. To make sure I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get the right train. Hello, Francis. You're right, Dad. Are you running that church yet? If not, why not? Yeah, put your thoughts out. Yeah, I know, sorry. I know, I'm like, it's going to be my Christmas present, if seriously is. So anyway, have a beautiful, wonderful week. Yeah, Julie, once I've gone through the experience, I would love to share it, because I think we've got to work much, much more with the scientific community, and also with the scientific community to change their thinking a bit, instead of trying to prove what mediumship isn't, maybe start looking at it to say what it is. Which is, it's very good proving what it isn't. You know, we're not mental, we are not schizophrenic, we're not this, we're not that, which is great. But it becomes a bit not all the time. So what is it then? Anyway, have a great week, everybody. Lots of love. A brilliant Christmas if we don't speak before. And just remember, it's not what's on the table or under the tree, it's the people around the table. That's the gifts. Have a great night, everybody.